And hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Hello, everybody, wherever you find yourselves. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood, and welcome to the live check-in, y'all. That's right. That's right. I am in another 72-hour fast, right? This is the fifth week that we are in 72-hour fast, and it is right now. Let's see. I start at 6 a.m. on Tuesday evening. So we are right now at just a little bit over 30 hours, right? So 30 hours and 10 minutes, basically. And just thought I'd come on and give you a little check-in to let you know where we are, what I'm doing. As you know, we get to show you some of the data that's going on. We check our blood sugars, check our ketones, show you some of the graphs, and just basically kind of talk about where we are. So let's go ahead and let's dive right in. Just a note for some of you, this is the first time that we are now on Instagram. We've been on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and so just excited to be now streaming to Instagram. So if you're out there, just say hello. I think I saw one person was out there already in Instagram, and just happy that you are here, Mr. Forbes. Thank you for hanging out. So let's talk about where I am. So physically, I must admit, I'm feeling a bit tired, right? So I am a little tired, but that's largely because I've been up preparing some content. As you see, I'm here, right? At this time, it's Central Time, 12:11, and I'm still up here talking with you. Excited that I'm talking with you, but I've been doing that and being up over the last several days, and I need to get some rest, right? It's a good reminder of how important rest is during a fast. I've been also feeling a lot hungrier than I have in the past. Interestingly, I was in a meeting when my fasting window started, and ideally I should have postponed the start of the fast, but I went ahead with it. And so now, as I got through that first maybe 12 hours into the 24 hours, I was feeling a lot hungrier than I did before. But now that's kind of that's passed a little bit, right? So also pointing out that, we need to be able to be flexible in our planning. So one of the things that I said is listen to your body. And that's one time I did not listen to my body. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little while. I've got a couple of new features that I want to show you guys that we're gonna do. Mentally though, it's a different story. I'm quite focused. One of the remarkable benefits I've noticed over the last 5 weeks consistently is that my thought process has been clear, a lot more focus. It's fascinating how fasting affects not just our physical state, but also our mental clarity. Okay. So it's been good. Let me say that. So all those things. Now let's hop over, because I know you want to see what's happening in my body, and just to kind of remind you that as we fast, several hormonal changes happen. Right. So we go through these stages of fasting. This is particularly important for people who might be diabetic, people who are trying to work on their metabolic syndrome, obesity, and so forth. It can be quite illuminating. At about 24 hours, the body has to switch from burning carbs, burning glycogen, and has to find another source. And that happens right about 24 hours. As we went through the timeline before, you'll remember that the digestion, once we eat, digestion happens at about between 4 to 5 hours. And after that, the blood sugars start to go down, insulin starts to drop, supposedly. That's what it's supposed to do. Insulin starts to drop. And as it drops, the body then goes to the liver to start using the glycogen that's stored there. And the body has about 24 hours worth of glycogen And so after about 24 hours, that's all gone. And now the body has to find something else. And the thing that we hope that it finds is what, y'all? That's right. We hope it finds the fat and starts burning the fat. So as blood sugar goes down, insulin goes down. When insulin goes down, something called glucagon goes up, and that signals, hey, we got to go find some energy. And most of us have enough energy to spare, and so the body begins now burning the fat. And that is one of the big benefits, and we'll show you that here in a minute as you go through and as you see some of my numbers. So let's hop over and let's go ahead and take a look. As you know, I have off to my side here, I've got my meter, my glucose meter. So I'll check my blood sugar. I'll also check my ketones. I have my Dexcom and my Libre, which will show. And then also we'll hop over and we'll take a look at some of the actual reports so see where we are. Okay. So first of all, let's take a look at our meters. And right now, the Libre says that my blood sugar is 72. And you'll see there the graph at the bottom part of the screen that over the course of the day, that the blood sugars are continue to go down. In fact, there are a couple of spots there. You see those red dots, a couple of spots where it actually went low. And it was actually alarming as I was getting ready to come on. So that's the Libre. And let's take a look over here at my Dexcom. So my Dexcom says that my blood sugar right now is 82. And also with the Dexcom, you see over the course of the day, let me actually do the last 12 hours. You'll see that those blood sugars have been dropping as well. Okay. And so with that said, let me hop over and we're going to take a look at my blood sugars with the glucose meter. This is my Keto Mojo meter, and let's go ahead and get these strips out of here. What I'm going to do is I'll do the ketone strips last, and I'll do the blood sugar because that's what we've been looking at. So you can see what it is compared to where we are with the monitors, the CGMs that I have. So here is my test strip. We'll get that into the monitor. And as you know, I don't use the Lansing device. I just do like that. That gives me a drop of blood. Get it into our strip. All right, so 82. And let's go back and let's compare that to where we were with our other monitors. Let's get that up here really quickly. Let's see, where did we go? All right, here we are. So here's our Dexcom. So Dexcom says 82, and our Libre says 72. As you know, that they sometimes will differ. So let's get the ketone strip in there. Still have our drop of blood, and we'll get that on the strip. And here in a couple of seconds, we'll get that number. All right. So what do you think it's going to be? I think maybe 3. 2.1, which is actually pretty good. As you remember, when we talk about with ketones, right? Ketones between 0.5 and 1.5 are what we call nutritional ketosis. And above that, 1.6 and above would be considered therapeutic ketosis. And so right now we're 2.1. And let me hop over to our app and get that pulled over. And then we'll take a look at our graphs. Right now it's syncing. And there is our 82 with the 2.1, which gives us a GKI or glucose ketone index of 2.1. But let's take a look at our graph. All right. Look at that, man. So as you know, when the blood sugars go down, insulin goes down. When insulin goes down, ketones go up. When blood sugars go up, insulin goes up and ketones go down. So you'll see the tracing, right? So this back here, see where it crosses right there? That right before that was when I broke my fast. That was Friday of this past week, and then started eating. And as I started eating, the blood sugars started rising, right? Blood sugars started rising, and the ketones started going down. And you see there that the ketones dropped all the way down to, what's that, 0.6 as the blood sugars rose. And they stayed up. Blood sugars are high, ketones are low. And then as I started my fast, let's see, that was Tuesday evening. So I started the fast at 6 o'clock on Tuesday evening, and this is about almost an hour later. My ketones are 0.6. Okay. Let's see. Did I check it that morning? So this was Monday evening, right? So ketones were 1.1 as I came out of the fast on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now Monday. And then ketones were 0.6 as I got into Tuesday and started fasting again. And you see that they started rising as the blood sugars are falling. And then here, I don't have a time for that, but right there where they cross, right? So now the blood sugars are lower and the ketones have risen. And so I expect over the course of the next day and a half, 2 days, as I continue the fast, that the blood sugars should continue rising. That the ketones should continue rising. Okay, and so let's hop over now and let's take a look at the graph. So this is now the Dexcom, right? This is the Dexcom graph that we're looking at, and let me blow that up for you. And let's take a look at a day or two. Day or two. So this, let's see, let's start right here. So this is Tuesday. So this is a little over a day ago, because I said we're at 30 hours. So I started fasting right here, right around 6 o'clock. And the blood sugar at that time was 124. And you see, even at that point, as I start, because remember, I didn't eat I shouldn't say I didn't eat, but I ate maybe around 3 o'clock, a late lunch. And as I got into my fasting window, I was on a meeting. I said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and continue with my plan. And the blood sugars continue to go down, 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 down. And then now into Wednesday, right? Continues into the 80s and 90s. And then right here, guys, you remember that spike, right? You were asking, wait a minute, if you didn't eat anything, how come the blood sugar spiked up? Right? And that is the result of, as we talked about, the dawn phenomenon. And we'll have to come back and do maybe a full show on the dawn phenomenon and some of that information. And then the blood sugars once again continued going down. And this is throughout the day, Wednesday into the evening. And what I don't have is today's data, because we're right after midnight. And so it hasn't sunk, it didn't sync yet. Let's look over at the Libre and see if the Libre, so I'll have to log back in. So give me just a second. I had this all set up while we were coming on. And let's see. Okay, so that should be coming up here in just a minute. And we'll get to see, what I want to see is if it synced this day. Okay, so let's go back over. And so similar data as we saw with the Dexcom. Let's get down to the reports. And let's see. So all the way down to the bottom. And so it didn't, it did actually. You see right here, it has a couple of numbers right at the bottom, right here. Okay. And they look like they are just either straddling. Well, according to this, they would just be straddling 70, because if they were below 70, then it would be red. And of course, the average is 73. Right. So that's where our numbers are. That's where our numbers are. That is the blood sugars according to the meter. That we got our ketones according to the glucoketometer monitor, and kind of how I'm feeling. Right. So feeling pretty good in terms of my mental clarity, my focus. A little tired because of, as we talked about before. So for those people who have type 2 diabetes, remember, this is an amazing way of beginning to regulate your blood sugars, because over the course of the fast, the blood sugars continue to go down as the insulin level drops, and your requirement for insulin goes away or goes down. And if you continue to do this on an ongoing basis, then you reap those benefits of having decreased insulin, decreased medication requirement. And that is the goal, right? Remember, as we talked about, new year, new you, what is our push? Our push is how do we minimize, how do we reduce your medication burden, and how do we put your diabetes in remission? And the other word that everybody's using is how do we reverse diabetes, right? How do we do that? And this is an amazing way to begin heading in that direction. Okay, so I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to ask questions. Drop them in the comments if you want to know about fasting, diabetes management, or other health-related issues as it relates to diabetes and relates to this space that we're here. I'm here to share my knowledge, my experience, and just love being in this community. I said that we had a couple of features that I wanted to do. One of them we've actually seen before, and that is our tip. And so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's talk about our tip for today. So, and this comes directly from my issue, right? Being in the meeting and just kind of going through with the fast anyway. So before you fast, make sure that you're eating a balanced meal that's rich in fiber, protein, and healthy fats. Do not fast before your fast. Okay. Now, many people say that what they do is and I do this as well, when I'm not fasting when I'm not doing my 72-hour fast, I am doing intermittent fasting. So I try to do a 5 to 7, 8 hour eating window. So that means that and I'm using these numbers because my eating window changes depending on my schedule. So if I stop eating at 6 o'clock at night, right, then I don't start eating again until noon the next day. So that gives me how many hours? That's right, 18 hours. It gives me 18 hours of not eating, and then the rest of the time I eat. So I try to keep that kind of window. So you can still do that, but make sure that prior to the fast, that you're not coming out of a fast into an extended fast, right? If that makes sense, right? So I wouldn't come from, if my eating window is 5 to 5 p.m. or noon to 6 p.m. and then I fasted from 6 p.m. to noon the next day, I wouldn't after noon, right? So like at 1 o'clock, start an extended fast. Right, so make sure that you are not fasting before you fast. And then the next kind of feature that I want to do is what I'm going to call our question of the day, right? Question of our team day. How do I deal with hunger during a fast? How do I deal with hunger during a fast? Well, if we're talking about dealing with, and we've mentioned before that during the fast, you should listen to your body. Listen to your body. So one of the most important things is to make sure that you are hydrated. because sometimes we mistake being thirsty for hunger. And so if you're struggling, make sure that you are hydrated. Make sure that you did a good job of having a balanced meal prior to starting the fast. And then during the fast, you want to make sure that you are utilizing the time effectively, that you're doing things, that you're not just sitting around thinking about, the next few hours that I have of fasting. Okay? Because if that's the case, it's going to be a long fast, y'all. It's going to be a long day. One of the tips that we gave from one of our other check-ins was to perhaps start your fast in the evening before you go to bed. Because if, for instance, if you're going to do a 24-hour fast, if you start the fast in the evening before you go to bed, by the time you wake up, you've gone through already 8, sometimes maybe 10 hours of the fast. Okay? And so it's not as long, and it's not as, some people say, boring to do the fast if you started at night. So start it at night or start it in the evening before you go to bed. When you wake up, you've already gone through several hours of the fast. Make sure that you are eating a balanced meal before the fast. Make sure that you are hydrated as you get into the fast. And then, the other thing is to make sure that you're rested, because if you're not rested, remember, one of the things that push us to eat is being tired, right? Being tired. We'll talk about our heat, right? The things that make us eat. Heat are the things that make us eat. We'll come back. We'll go through those with you in one of our upcoming shows. But make sure that you're rested. Make sure that that you are hydrated, and then make sure that you are distracted. I guess that would be a good term for it. Make sure that you're doing things to keep yourself busy, so that you're not just sitting around thinking about the eating. Okay. All right. So I see we've got a guest out there, Trent C. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're just going through our 30-hour check-in as we are continuing in our fast for the fifth week. Now, as we've been doing, I have been doing intermittent fasting, leading up and prior to now. But the extended fast is a new feature that we're adding, that I'm adding as we talk about New Year, New You. New Year, New You. If you've not been following us, go ahead and let me hop over and get to the YouTube channel, because on the YouTube channel, that's where all of this amazing stuff is, right? This is where it is. Let me pull that back up here. Let's see. Let's get over here. Here we go. Okay, so make sure that you get over to the YouTube channel. We are growing, we're expanding, and we would love to have you as part of the community. Let your family, your friends, let your relatives, let your doctors know what's going on here on the channel as we move through, talking specifically about what do we need to do to be healthier. And for adults with type 2 diabetes, how do we put your diabetes in remission? How do we reverse your diabetes? How do we decrease your medication burden? That's all the stuff that we are talking about here as we move into upcoming shows into the season. The challenge for the month of January was to work your way up until you could fast for 24 hours, right? That was to expand your or shrink your eating window. Some people don't eat for 8 hours because they're sleeping, right? If that was you, you should have worked your way up so that you could now extend to 10 hours and 12 hours and 14 and 16 and 20 and right until you could do a 24-hour fast. As always, make sure that you're checking with your healthcare provider, that you're checking in with them. If you're one of my patients, one of my clients, make sure that you're talking with me if you are attempting to do this, right? So extending the fast until you can do it for 24 hours. On Monday, our show will air. It will be a recorded show. We've already done it. It's a good discussion that we're going to have. And then we'll come back the week after to talk more about this new year, new you, and say, hey, what do we do now? Now that we can fast for a 24-hour period, what do we do next? Okay, that's going to be our discussion this week coming up. Make sure you stop by. Make sure you are on the channel. Make sure you are in the comments. And for those of you who are on Instagram, thank you for coming in and hanging out with us. And for the rest of you, we're going to do something here really quickly. We're going to change to an Instagram view and say to our Instagram folks, thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending this time. I'm so glad that we were able to add Instagram to our lineup. Now we can go live there. Now you can interact with us. The shorts have already been there in the past in our stories that we've been doing. But now we can go live as we're doing our show so that you can see us there as well. All right. Well, thank you once again for hanging out. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. We'll see you at the next show.